live. I usually like to look at it from one of my other devices as well, but we'll see how that goes. And we're live. I'm sorry. All right. So this is another episode of the Purpose Pod. I have with me today Miss Amanda Chambers.
Hello.
What's up? What's up? What's up? So Amanda here is the reason why I was able to write this lovely thing here. Can I speak? She is a great light of hope for us all. So
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
go ahead and introduce yourself, Amanda. Let them know your name, where you're from, and maybe something interesting about you.
So I'm Amanda Chambers. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Don't judge me, y'all. And when I was 13, I moved to a little town called Jacksonville, North Carolina, military town. And so I'm kind of like halfway from the north, halfway a Southern Belle. Just depends on what day you get me. And something interesting about me, I am a craft nerd. I love DIY. You can usually find me covered in paint, glitter, those kinds of things.
The fun stuff. So you're one of the reasons why people they might have glitter on their face or something like that, and it's because of you. DLP in the house. Can you see the comments? You can see the comments, right?
No, I can't see anything.
Oh, you can't? Oh man, I'm sorry. Hold on, let me see. Maybe let me see if I can help Amanda out, y'all. You can see me.
Right? Oh, I can see you. Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Let me see. Bam. There we go.
Okay,
can now you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll just have to be able to post whatever people put up so you can see it. Cool. All right. So we're going to get this show on the road by first asking, so what was life like before you became an author? So what was that? What was your life like before that?
It was normal. I mean, I was an English professor. I'd been teaching college since I was 28. So that annoying English professor that makes you write the narrative essay and the descriptive essay.
That's you.
And I was working from home. I was teaching online because I had my beautiful daughter in 2013 and wanted to stay home with her. So I switched from face-to-face teaching to online. And I mean, that was it. Stay-at-home mom. My husband was in news media. So we moved from North Carolina to Florida, and we lived in Florida for about 3 years. And that was it. It was just regular old normal life, nothing spectacular. I wasn't like, a rapper or something like that.
An aspiring rapper.
Right, aspiring rapper.
So what made you go into writing books then? Like if you were just a regular mom, regular person, regular wife, like what made you go into writing books?
So I actually started a book in 2008 and I was in grad school. And anyone who's ever gotten an English degree of any kind knows that it's like super writing intensive, right? Yeah. So I got this great idea over winter break 2008. I was going to start writing a book. Good idea. I'm on break. I don't have anything else to do. I worked on campus and I went to school there. So, when school's out, everything is out.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to, so I sit there and I'm watching Tales from the Hood.
Of course.
And I start writing. I get about 3 or 4 chapters in. School starts back up. I have to go back. I'm now in thesis mode and I'm writing my thesis. My thesis was a book in and of itself. So now I'm like, oh, I'm writing this book and I'm writing this book, but I'm paying to write this book a lot of money to get this graduate degree.
Yeah.
This book isn't making me any money right now. This book is costing me money. Let me finish this book.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back to it. And after that, I graduated, got my first job. Then I had my second full-time job and I was running a university writing center. And I just didn't have time for the book. So, and then I got pregnant. I was a first-time mom, first-time pregnancy. That is a lot. So I never, ever had time again to work on the book. And then in 2015, the very end of the year, we found out that the university, well, the college, it was an online college that I was working for, was actually going to close all of its North American campuses.
Wow. Yeah. That's
And that
crazy.
translated into no job.
Yeah.
So for the first time in years, I was actually sitting there with no job. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And my husband was like, well, luckily we're not going to be living out of the car while it's being repossessed. I can carry the bills.
Right.
So, figure out what you want to do.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. And then I came back to him. I was like, I think I want to finish that book.
Yeah.
And that's how everything kind of started moving. And that was the end of 2015. He was like, okay, finish the book. You've got until the end of 2016. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Nobody said anything about dates.
Yeah.
He was like, no. End of 2016.
So you were challenged.
It was like, oh, okay. And I mean, I did. I put it out in August of 2016. So I met the deadline and beat it by about 4 months. So that's good.
You said you beat it by 4 months, right?
Beat it by 4 months.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty much how the whole writing career started. I've been an avid book reader. I've been reading since I was 3.
Yeah.
And always read, and then started writing maybe middle school, end of middle school. So it's always been there. It was just that I was always doing something else. In high school, I was too busy, being popular and all that.
Popular.
And
being bad.
Stuff, like singing in chorus. That was my claim to fame and, all of that. And so I was too busy being, a teenager. Then I was too busy in college when I went away to college. Then I was too busy figuring out what I was going to do when I finished college, and then grad school, marriage, baby. So that was like the first time I was just really like, I could write this book. So that's how it happened.
So do you feel like your husband giving you that challenge pushed you further, or were you going to end up writing it anyways? Was that challenge helpful?
I would have ended up writing it anyway, but we still might have been waiting for it.
Okay, so you would be like, I'll get to it December.
Distracted. I can't remember what that cartoon is, but it's a puppy, a dog. And he's like, oh, look, I'm walking. Squirrel. That's
right.
it.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. So, right. So, things to do. And so him giving me that ultimatum was a challenge. And I don't like ultimatums and challenges. He knows that about me. So that was strategic. Staying strategic.
So were you at a point where if you did not publish the book, it would have altered your life completely, or, had you not published that book?
That was the catalyst and where I am now. If I had not published that book and the things that happened as a result of that book in being in existence, I would have found another online position. I'd be still teaching. And none of this would have happened. And consequently, Can I Speak might not be in existence because that's
true. Because I was out here struggling.
Right. So it was the catalyst that started me on that journey. So it's a good chance, that not you would have eventually, you had it in your mind. Your book was coming. It just might not have been out now because you wouldn't have been getting those,
Right, because I was extra procrastinating.
So, it may have taken a little bit longer because, I'm sure at some point you were like, this lady does not stop calling and texting me. I'm gonna block her.
It's on point.
But but you would have gotten it, but it may not have been now. So it my book and that ultimatum that my husband kind of issued, that was the catalyst in getting the ball rolling to where everything happened the way that it happened.
Yeah. So what inspires you to continue to write? Like, do you get inspired based off of things that you see in life or a new thing, because you're in the erotic romance type thing, right? So, explain, first of all, let's go here. So when I first, heard like erotic romance, I was like, man, these girls are, so I was like, I didn't know much about it. So can you tell others who may not know what it's about, and and they may be afraid to read it because one, maybe they're religious, or two, maybe mama said don't read those things.
Right.
Why should they read erotic romance?
So
Yeah.
erotic romance is a subgenre of erotica, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have this erotica and you have stories that have no romance to them that fall under the erotica,
Mm-hmm.
BDSM and all of that 50 Shades of Grey
Oh
level
man,
stuff.
Lion and the
That's,
Tiger.
that's kind of a little
Yeah, that was
away from where I am. Yeah. So romance is when I was growing up, I used to steal my mother's Harlequin romances. Sorry, Mom.
Hold on, what did you say? I missed that.
When I was growing up, I used to steal my mother's Harlequin romances.
Oh,
Um, sorry,
yeah.
Mom. And
Bad girl.
those she's gonna kill me. So I would steal them and they would, the romance story would be there, the storyline would be there, of course. But when I grew up, I realized that there were elements of romance that were missing, i.e., the fact that there are quite a few people that do sleep together before marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt like that wasn't telling the complete story. And so when I started writing romances, I wanted to tell the complete story, entire romance. Out of all the couples I know, there's only one couple that I know that, did not sleep together prior to marriage.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm not necessarily, and sometimes it's kind of like, stop calling it erotica, because when you read erotica, typically you're thinking of that more hardcore, and mine is sweet romance where people fall in love. There's some suspense in it. Some people tell me that they were like, oh, wait, what just happened? I got to go back and read that because there's a suspense aspect to it. But I just really feel like I'm telling a complete romance story.
Yeah, it's like a movie, right? But in a book, so it's just written down. And I don't see why it could get like it being the erotic side. Like, people always act strange when we talk about sex. Like, people act like sex isn't the reason why half of us, all of us are here. I don't know if anybody are made from machines yet, but so getting that in a story form does nothing but add maybe even value. Like, even what y'all were saying when we had our DLP soiree, I was like, y'all was putting me on game with the whole erotic writings and stuff. Y'all like, look, this is a change of life. Like, y'all was out there selling it. I was like, these ladies are passionate about it. So
I'm telling the story, and every romance is unique. The ones that are made up in stories, the ones that happen in real life. I tell everyone, I met my husband in 2003. He's from New York. And he had moved down to North Carolina. I was still an undergrad, and he's my older brother's frat brother, right? So he, I liked him. I thought he was cute. He thought I was Andre's little sister, and he ignored me. That's how it happened. And so I was in a long-term relationship after that, got out the long-term relationship, and I was like, man, I spent my whole college career in a relationship. Like, everybody's out here wilding out, going to the club, going home with folks.
Yeah.
I was out here playing wifey, and it didn't even work out. I'm about to wild out. I'm about to do whatever I want to do. But I was also still a little scared to be doing whatever. So I was like, what? I'm going to have a one-night stand. What? I'm going to do it with someone I kind of know.
Yeah.
So that I don't get killed or something.
Yeah.
Right? So I chose this dude named Stan. We married. We've been married almost 13 years.
That one night stand.
Very well.
Went to many nights.
I've lost count.
Lost count.
So, whole last name, whole child together.
Whole child.
Businesses together.
Right.
My one attempt at a one night. So clearly I don't do that very well.
Yeah.
But that's our love story. I thought I was out here, having whatever hot girl summer it was in December of 2005, whatever the term was back then. And ended up with an entire husband. And that's a love story. And everybody's is unique. And I just want to tell these unique believable, because there are some aspects, a lot of my friends will read the story and be like, so you just gonna put me in a character? That's
Yeah.
it. And I'm like,
That's
a little bit sorry. So
not.
how it works, ma'am. Yeah, kind of messed that up,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So do you feel that writing, your style of writing, has increased the value of your relationship and your marriage? That was not on the questionnaire. I'm sorry. I'm just, these questions are just spawning off because of
I'm happy doing what I do.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he has supported me, every marriage has its ups and downs, but through everything that we've been through, we've been together for 15 years. We've been through all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And his support, even when he's like, what are you doing now? He's just like, go ahead. Go.
Yeah.
Just do it. When I told him I wanted to go back to grad school, he was like, all right, what? Okay. Go and just don't fail, So that, it has increased my love and respect for him, because it doesn't matter what I come to him with,
Yeah.
When you started working with me, I had that huge afro, huge curly afro.
Yeah.
As you can see. And so I'll just come up to him and be like, I want to cut all my hair off. And he's like, okay. And, so he supports the things that I want to do. So that part and that, that support of my writing, it has made it exponentially easier for me to write. I don't have to worry about, I got to hide my writing and my time because I'm not going to support it. He's got my 6-year-old who thought she was being interviewed today as well.
Oh, she thought she was getting interviewed.
Like, no, ma'am.
Oh, she can get interviewed.
No, you don't want that kind of life. You don't want that. You don't want that life.
Yeah.
So he's got her right now, entertaining her in his office. Because I was like, people can see me, so I need her to be with you. And he's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, she was always popping up on the calls whenever we would have our reviews. I was like, oh, that's so cute. She loved her mom.
Little voice in the background, mommy.
What's up, David? Hey, David, if you want to write a book, this is the person you need to talk to right here. Okay, I'm just letting you know, David. That's my guy. So, what we're talking about relationships right now too. So, what could you tell a guy? Like 3 things you could tell a guy that has a woman, a wife, a spouse, or whatever, and maybe he doesn't know how to support her or what to do in this situation, and she's chasing her dreams or trying to become who she wants to become. What are like some things you could tell him? Like 3 things, maybe.
Ask her what she needs. When I came to my husband and I had the idea for Divine Legacy Publishing, he looked at me and he said, okay, well, then you're going to launch January 1st. I said, I'm sorry, who is going to do what when? Because I was talking to him on December 16th.
Right.
And I was like, no. And he was like, what you need? A logo? All right. What you need? A website? Go call Sam.
Yeah.
Like, what's stopping you from doing it? Don't come to me with his whole thing is, don't come to me with a problem or an idea. And then when I give you the solution,
you're
like, oh, but wait. Yeah. So, but that's a good thing, because they'll ask me, all right, so what do you need to make, like, what do you want? What do you need to make it happen? So ask, and if she says, I don't know what I need to make it happen, then you sit down and brainstorm with her, because she might just need to bounce an idea off and kind of work it out in her mind. So be her sounding board, be her support, be her sounding board, but also don't be afraid to be like, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Back it up. What can you, because he'll tell me you're taking on too much. You need to sit down somewhere. And I'm like, no, but I got to finish.
You need to sit down.
Go sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right.
So that helps though. That helps.
It does, because then I'm like, okay, because in my mind, it's like this dude sees me every day. So he's going to notice if I'm getting run down, if I'm getting too stressed out. There was a period where I was kind of stressed out and I wasn't sleeping. So he would get up for work in the morning at like 6:45 and I'm still up.
Dang.
And he was like, "Have you been to bed yet?" "No." You need to go to
Wow.
bed." And he would take the computer from me and
Yeah.
tell me go to bed. And I'm like, well, that was aggressive, but okay, fine.
But you need that probably because if he just lets you do whatever you want, then you probably won't listen.
I barely listen, but yeah.
All right. So those were good points. Let's see here. Oh, and one more for the lady. So on her side, what have you learned? So, what has helped you communicate better with your husband who is trying to motivate you? Because we both know that in relationships, the motivator could also be the one that seems threatening or pushy or whatever. So, like, how could the lady prepare herself to receive the motivation?
You got to be open to it and don't
Mm.
have an attitude like I sometimes do.
Mm.
Be open to it. If your dude loves you, then he's not going to say something that's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
He's saying it, when he was telling me to sit down somewhere, it wasn't because he didn't want me to complete what
Right.
I had to do or to, stop or give up. It was because he
Yeah.
saw me looking run down. I got bags under my eyes and I'm drinking 10 cups of coffee a day because
Yeah.
I'm so tired. And, so don't be adverse to receiving some feedback,
Hmm.
I send stuff. I just posted a new blog on my retro modern Mandy blog about tips for homeschooling. I
Hmm.
sent it to him before I put it up there. He does have a degree in journalism, so it's not like
Yeah.
I'm sending it just randomly, but he changed some things in it. At first I was like, hey yo,
Hmm.
don't be
Like I
changing
wrote this.
writing. But the changes he made sense.
Hmm.
I tend to be long and wordy, and you can't be long and wordy on blogs. That's not how that
Yeah.
works. So
Yeah.
he was like, no, you need to be more concise, precise, all the sices.
Hmm.
And, he was right. But for a minute there, I was like, hey, yo, I just said read it. What you
Yeah. What you over here editing?
Well, he did. He
So,
made it better. So you have to be open
hmm.
to discussing, if you're bouncing ideas off of someone and they say, I don't know about that idea, but, maybe you could do this. Don't be mad.
Yeah. You get
That you
offended.
might have been doing too much there.
Yeah. That's true though. That's really true, and it can help us be better authors and
Mhm.
writers. So, as an author, do you feel like having a blog is something that all authors need to do or should do?
Yes. I feel like for a couple of reasons. One of the biggest reasons is before I put my book out, I put a little teeny short stories
Hmm.
on my blog. And I had so many people say, I read your short story on your blog. Where's your book? So just a showcase of your talents. And if
Yeah.
people see that and they get a chance to look at that for free, they're more apt to buy your book. Don't
Mm.
put entire chunks of books up there or, these long short stories where they feel satisfied that they've read a book and so they don't have to
Hmm.
buy your book. But you definitely want to showcase your abilities so that
Yeah.
way they're like, oh, okay, well, let me go get your book real quick because I want to see more.
Hmm. So, would they start the blog before writing that book, or should they start their blogs after publishing their book?
I did mine before. So I
Okay.
think I posted my first short story and it might have actually been about 4 years ago today.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years ago today, or well, this month anyway. It was in April. I think it was like maybe mid-April of 2016, and my book came out in August of 2016. And I
Hmm.
shared the links to the blogs, and I posted them everywhere. And by the time my book came out, people were waiting for it.
Hmm. So preparation. So preparing for your book release. So getting into that, let's say so they hire you, Divine Legacy Publishing,
Hmm.
LLC, right? Because that's what you do. So all right, let me hold on, let me write down so I can remember because I got short-term memory. So so we're talking about blogging and what to do. So I want you to tell them what you do as a publisher, like as a self-publishing coach, like outside of the author part. What do you do with that? Divine
So
Legacy?
with Divine Legacy Publishing, my goal was to create a publishing company that allows authors to self-publish. So and Alan can vouch for this. Alan has told me he's done well with his book, but I can't give you any numbers because I haven't seen any numbers. I don't ask for any numbers. I want y'all to make as much money as you humanly possibly can, but I don't control royalties. I don't issue checks. I don't handle book sales or anything like that. I teach authors how to self-publish.
Mm-hmm.
And there's in the past, it's starting to whittle away a bit, but in the past, there was a stigma on self-publishing authors. They didn't know how to do this. Their books didn't look professional. They weren't affiliated with a publishing company, so they self-published themselves. So, they couldn't even get picked up by a self-publishing company or traditional publishing company and so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. So my goal was to be a publishing company, but not in a traditional sense that I control your marketing and I control your royalties, but to teach authors to self-publish and then kind of have a community, a family, if you will.
Yeah.
That we support each other. We go and do events together. We throw events together and do all of that and
Mm-hmm.
teach all the things that I had learned self-publishing.
Yeah.
That's the gist
So
of it.
so why should anyone join your team of publishers?
Because it's a family. We don't
Yeah.
we don't do, some of the other publishing companies you see infighting, you see competition, you see author Michelle, she said hold our hands from start to finish. Yeah, yeah. I do that. And my goal was really to create a family.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you can see, Alan, you can vouch for it,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of, what I've done. We have a community. We do stuff together. We look out for each other. There is no competition. The erotica authors support each other, share each other's book
Right.
links. Hey, if you like my book, you'll love this book. We support each other's events and, share that. So that was my goal. And that's what kind of sets me apart. You get to talk to people. We have a Facebook group. We talk to each
Right.
other. We write books together. Who's writing now, who's doing this. Travel together. Some of us have traveled together, shared hotel rooms at different events.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my goal because,
Yeah.
people don't know some of these publishing companies remind you of Death Row Records back in, and
Like
you
it's
just kind of
thumb
like,
out here.
"Bruh, it's books though. Why are we
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast, and books?
Right.
That's what's happening
Right.
here. No, don't do
Yeah.
that. That's
That's true.
terrible." So
Yeah.
it was my goal to be the opposite of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can vouch for the camaraderie, the family setting, the consistency, and the support. So definitely, shout out to Divine Legacy Publishing,
Thank
for
you.
their awesomeness. And I look forward to writing many more books after my procrastination period of the coronavirus. So so they said they're banging out more books. Oh, banging over books. So yeah, all right. So let's
They
get
were
on
they
to
were gang banging over books. That's
banging
I
over
was
books,
like,
gang banging over books.
this is intense.
Yeah, I mean that setting is. So here's another question. So you just published your book and you want to tell people about it, right? Average Americans, we feel like, oh, I don't want to tell people about my book, and I don't want them to feel like they have to buy my book because I don't want them to feel like I'm after their money, right? We get that mentality like, oh, they think I'm asking for money. So, what are some ways that a new published author could market themselves, and how can they get rid of that stigma of like, oh, well, you get what I'm saying?
You got to drop that mentality. A reader
Yeah.
is going to read. What is the difference between them going into Barnes and Noble and saying to the guy at the circulation desk, "I love romance. Give me a new romance author," and then buying
Right.
my book? They're still
Sure.
spending the money.
Mm-hmm.
My book is better.
Yeah.
So why not say, hey, I wrote a book? Now, that's not to say you be the annoying person that's popping up in everybody's DMs every 10 minutes. Did you
Right.
see my link? Here's my link.
Did you click the link?
Did you click
Did
the
you
link?
subscribe?
Did you buy the book?
Right.
Can you leave a review?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing right now? You
Yeah.
know, so, don't be that person, but why not tell them you have a book? Why
Right.
not say I've written this book? You may like it. You may not like it. It may be that, I announce it, but there's people on my friends list, they don't like romance.
Right.
There's different things that people like. Well, then they're going to ignore it. But what about the 200 people on my list that do like romance?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Why not say, go ahead. I have a sorority sister. She sells paparazzi. She knows that I am obsessed with things that look like vintage jewelry.
Yeah.
She hit me up and she was like, hey, I know that you don't like all of the things that we have because they look too modern, but look at these 3 things that I just got in. They look like old school.
Yeah.
She sent me the pictures. I said, send me an invoice.
Right. So you never know until you ask.
You never know until you ask. And she knew that I didn't like, the modern, and I don't like dangly earrings, as you can see.
Yeah.
I wear, studs, and I like things that look old fashioned and pearls. But she knew that. So when she got them in, she hit me up with the pictures, and I literally, the next thing I said was, send me an invoice. You got me. So why not?
Right. So do you feel like you've mastered that skill of presenting your work to other people?
Yeah. See, I've never been a seller. Like even when I know put it this way, back in the day when everybody was working at those telemarketing firms, I did.
Yeah.
They pulled me off the floor because I scored really high. I knew what I was supposed to do.
Right. You just couldn't do it.
But I was like, all right, you don't want these little Sesame Street books? Fine, I'll talk to you later.
All right.
So, but I knew the concepts, and so they pulled me off the floor, and they made me a supervisor.
Yeah.
Because I could teach the concepts and I could give advice, but I have gotten a lot better. I actually had a social distancing special on my books. When everybody started getting this shelter in place and stay at home orders. I made a little flyer that said, if you bought 1 or 2 of my print books, I would give you, I have a novella that I put out at Valentine's Day, but it's only in ebook form.
Yeah.
So if you bought one of my books, one of my print books, I would ship it to you and email you a free Kindle version of my novella. So I've gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot better with it.
You add different like gifts to bring value, even bring more value to your book. So you have a book, say, hey, I got some bookmarks or this and that, right?
And I send people, I'm infamous for drinking tea. I love tea. And so anybody who buys print books from me, they get a little sachet of tea, different exotic flavors, one of which might or may not be an aphrodisiac, but we'll buy
might get you feeling right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I've definitely, I had to learn. You have to learn if you're a self-published author. You're not, if you don't promote yourself. Self is in the word.
Self is in publishing.
Right. So if you don't promote yourself, you're what are you doing?
You're losing.
So you're wasting time. So I have to, I don't have a choice. Even if it's not my strong point, I also have to balance a household budget, but I hate math. You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. That's a fact. So like, have you, as an author, have you faced any like trials as an author, like, any setbacks, any like depressing moments where you were like not selling as much as you wanted? Like, give us an example of something you've been through as an author that we may go through as authors.
Well, when I first put my book out, I did very well, very, very well. I hit #1 on my Amazon chart the day it came out because I'd done so many things prior to it. But I hated living in Florida. And so a lot of my attention was taken by the fact that I really, really hated living in Florida.
Yeah.
I had been in North Carolina since 1994. That was home. I could have dealt with going back all the way back to my original home, but I was 12 and a half hours from my mother. I had her only grandchild at the time.
Yeah.
And it was just, I hated all of it. I just hated being there. And so
Yeah.
my focus was taken off of promoting my first book when I should have still been promoting it because I was so focused on the fact that I hated where I was.
Yeah.
And so I did waste that time. I came back and I once I got my mind better, I was okay and everything, but that was a really low time because I hated. Did I say I hated? Did I mention that I hated?
Yeah, you said I hated Florida. I don't know. You might be the only person that hate Florida though.
Well,
unless you was in the hood. You was in the hood.
I hated it. I wasn't. We were in like a really rich area, and I hated.
Yeah.
Florida. It was hot. The heat touches you. It's very disrespectful.
Yeah.
It's in your personal space, and you're like, no, heat, back up, and the heat is like, so
all up in your face.
There were alligators. They found a 12-foot alligator in the septic area where we live. I was like, what do you mean 12 foot? I'm not even 6 foot. The dude is double my height.
Yeah.
No. I want to go home.
Yeah.
We don't have these problems in North Carolina.
Right.
So that was a tough time, and I didn't focus on my book the way that I should have. But I regrouped. I came back, and that, it was just the environment that I was in. It affected me, and so that was a tough time. And then I had some people who told me I couldn't do it, who encouraged me to go back and go back to work. When I was writing my book, they were like, no, don't waste your time writing a book. Nobody ever gets famous off of that. And I was like, I don't want to be famous. I want to write my book.
Right.
That wasn't the, I guess, end goal wasn't to be famous. It was to write my book.
Yeah.
But it was, a deterrent. You have some of the people that are closest to you saying, don't do that. But me being who I am, got just a little bit of an attitude problem. And so when you tell me I can't do something, you best believe I'm going to do it.
You're gonna do
because I'm going to make sure that you eat your words. I'm going to do everything in my human power to make you eat your words.
Yeah.
So even though it was disappointing that happened, it just fueled the fire. I already wanted to do it, but now I got to prove to you that you were playing games. Yeah. Okay.
So what happens when someone takes that the other way? Like they get that, oh, you shouldn't do that and you should go back to work. Being a writer or poet, whatever, is not a successful, path. Like what should they do? Because some people take that information and not pursue the goal. They'll go back to work in the 9 to 5. So like, what do you do at that moment, that pivotal moment? Like, what do you do?
You got to tell yourself and you got to ask yourself, am I okay with this eating away at me? Because even there was 8 years from when I started writing the book to when I finished it. Yeah. And those 8 years, it was very frequent that I was like, man, I need to finish that book. I need to finish that book. And even though it was things that were kind of, at one point, my first full-time job was an hour and 20 minutes from my house. So I was literally driving an hour and 20 minutes, teaching 7 classes, and then driving an hour. Right. Kind to your professors. I have no idea what we go through.
Don't know. They don't.
But right. But so it was just, there's no way I could have sat and wrote a book. I had at least 25 students in each class. 25 times 7 is a number I don't even want to talk about in the way of grading papers and student sessions that you have to have. And so there was no way that I could. Yeah. But it still ate away at me. I was driving to work and like, man, and this was before the days of talk to text and things like that. Yeah. And if I could just take this time, I'd be able to, sit and I'm not driving to work an hour and a half, it's going to eat away with you. So you ask yourself, am I okay with this continuously being in the back of my mind? It's maybe not going to keep you awake at night, but it's going to bother you. Yeah. If you're okay with it bothering you, then,
Then
you
yeah,
know, do what you got to do. But
that's another
otherwise,
story.
get that book written.
Right. So So, what are some things that you want people to know about you as a business owner? That they may want to know about the person that could be guiding them in their process of writing a book. Like, what are some things they should know about you? Like, are you? I mean, I know you're fun, and then of course you have some personality, some amazing personality,
Just
and so so I can vouch for all of that. You all can see right now that Amanda is very approachable. She is kind, she is loving, she is helpful. So maybe that, okay, there it goes. I just said it for everybody. There you go. You don't
but
have to
I
say
also will
it.
continue to bother you, even when you took that short break.
Yeah,
Remember,
I did. Yeah, I took
you
a break.
still got, even though we weren't meeting every week, you
Hey,
still
we
got,
was on the clutch schedule though. Like we
yeah.
made that happen. I don't know if y'all understand, but like it was like, when do you want to write this book? It was like, October, by October, I think, right? It was by
Mhm.
October, right? But yeah, that was clutch. So if it wasn't for you, I probably would have sat on that for another 2 years or so. So because we do that, like if we don't have people like you who are, driving us, like, hey, do you have outline of your book, your chapters, the themes? Like I didn't even think about like putting things together. Like, oh, the themes. I was just going to write a book with poetry, but you were like, the themes, put the themes together. So yeah, definitely a great addition to my journey. So I do appreciate you.
And the biggest thing to remember about me is that, back in the day, some of y'all might, I don't know what the age range for your audience is. I might be
Oh,
dating
we all the way
myself here quite a bit.
from the 77 is the 2000s. So I'm just
Okay.
playing.
But there, the Hair Club for Men, where he
Hmm.
said, I'm not just the president, I'm a client.
Yeah.
I'm an author. I know how it feels to have a book inside of you that you want to get it out. I know the frustration of trying to figure out self-publishing. I didn't have a coach.
Hmm.
I had a pile of books,
Right.
websites, and going into some of these Facebook groups and asking questions only to get people who don't want you to succeed because they
Hmm.
want to succeed, not wanting to answer the question fully.
Right.
I'd see me and other people ask questions and they'd be like, "Oh, well, look it up on Google." Bro, you said your book came out. If your book
Right.
is out, you know
You
what
know
this
what we got to
is.
do.
Share the information. You don't want to
Right.
share. Okay, well, I'm not going to Google it. I'm going to go find a book or find somebody else who's not acting like you,
Hmm.
and I'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
so I know the frustration of not knowing and not understanding and trying to figure this out and trying to have the best version of your book
Hmm.
put forward. So I'm not only the president, I'm a client.
She's a
I
client
don't
and
have
a
haircuts,
president.
so this is all me.
Yeah.
um so, but I know that it's there. I'm not some company that manufactures this that aren't even authors. I'm actually
Right.
an author. You're gonna stand next to me at
Hmm.
book fairs, at events. I'm going to be sitting there with you because even though I help you through this, we're the same. Like, I don't
Right.
feel like I'm like, oh, Amanda's up here and everybody else. No, that I'm really just a round the way girl.
Except
I have
for when
empty
we
earrings.
all went out to
I
eat.
got them.
Except for when we all went out to eat and you made us all sit at a different table and you sat at your own table at the throne and you told us to kiss your feet. I'm just playing. She did not tell us
And that's not true. Not only is that not true, but
I'm just
I
playing.
let my thug slip and
I'm
cried
just
in front of
playing.
everybody at the table.
Yeah, you did get your little emotional roll on. I was like,
I,
oh,
I
oh.
let my thug slip. I had them
She said,
tears.
this is so why was it so emotional for you to have all the authors there? Why what did that feel like to see, the people that you've helped publish books
It
in
was
one place?
it was amazing. It was overwhelming to me because I looked up and everybody sitting at that table
Yeah. I'm
a
fucking
year,
my
2
charger.
years before were aspiring authors. They didn't have books out. They didn't have, and just to look around and see, all the different genres, your poetry,
Yeah.
there was self-help there. There was that type of other kind of erotica that we don't.
Yeah. Oh,
There
what was
was,
that? Michelle stuff, huh?
Michelle.
Chains, chains and ropes and
Yeah,
Bengay.
Right, right. Michelle.
Shades of
Or
milk with some
man, you knew
Bengay.
exactly who I was
I
talking.
know Michelle. Michelle, yeah, Michelle. Michelle's something
Michelle Wild.
else. She
I'm
wow.
doing a disclaimer.
Look
But,
at
so just look around and see different walks of life,
hmm
military, you and Bree, military,
Yeah.
former teachers, current teachers, um,
hmm
financial, like every walk of life was there, every type of genre, everything. And just to look and see everybody selling their books, holding their books, and like, wow, I helped this happen.
Yeah.
You, Michelle, don't do that to me. No, ma'am. Mm-mm.
She's like, who me? Cutting up. So if what advice would you give someone who wants to have their own publishing company? So like if they are like,
Research,
hey, hmm?
research,
Research.
research. What type of publishing company do you want to be? You want to be traditional? You want to be self-publishing? You know, what what type of books? There are some publishing companies that only publish a certain type of book.
Hmm
I'm friends with someone who owns a publishing company, and she only publishes feminist nonfiction.
Yeah.
And they're great books, but she's narrowed down her genre of what she wants to work with.
hmm
I know other publishing companies that only do what's considered urban or street lit. So,
Yeah.
I didn't want to narrow it down because I think that all literature is valuable, even if it's not my favorite genre. Obviously,
Yeah.
my favorite genre is
Your favorite genre is that graves though. I
right,
know.
right. So, but I think that all books. I was the kid that you punished me from reading. I didn't get punished from TV. My mother
Yeah.
punished me from TV. I didn't
Take
care.
the books.
She took my books, and then it was like literally, how could you do this? I thought I was your child. I thought you loved
Yeah.
me. Why would you do this to me? So, I would read anything. When I used to get
hmm
punished, I'd sit at the breakfast table and read the back of the cereal box
Yeah. So
because
you're an avid reader.
I'm just an avid reader.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to narrow it down and say I only do romance or I only do
hmm
this, I only do that. So, but you need to research, figure out what type of publishing company do you want to be,
hmm
and then build from there and take some business classes. I went from being a college professor who dealt in semesters,
hmm
and I got a business coach because I didn't know anything about business. I was a teacher.
Yeah.
And my business coach, I'm still friends with her today. Hey, Sabrina. And Sabrina asked me on one of our first calls.
hmm
She said, "Well, what are your Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 goals?" And I said, "I got them. Don't even worry about it. As soon as you tell me what a Q is."
Yeah. What the Q is.
She said, "Oh, okay. So we okay, all right. We're gonna dial this back a little bit. We're gonna go all the way back to fundamental."
Yeah.
Because I dealt in semesters. I had written
hmm
goals down, but I had written them down in fall semester, spring semester, and things
Right.
to work on over the summer.
Yeah.
Because that was, so if you're going to start a business, get a coach. Take
Get a
these
coach.
classes. Sabrina helped me immensely. And
Yeah.
then behind Sabrina, it was Donna,
hmm
Fortress Career Counseling.
hmm
Excuse me. The air got in my throat.
Uh-oh. Like, don't let that corona.
Air is attacking me. But I enlist the help of others. If business isn't your thing,
hmm
please, please, please don't do like I did and try to figure it out. That's what
Yeah.
coaches are there for. Get you a coach. They
Okay.
will help you.
So
And
if
just figure it out from there.
yeah. So what if someone is in the beginning stages of their, let's say, well, what can someone come to you if they're like they don't even have the book typed up yet? They just have an idea. When should they come to you?
Whenever. When
Okay.
if you think you can write your book, come to me for editing. And we'll move on from editing to self-publishing and so on and so forth. If you have this idea for this banging story and you just cannot figure out where to start, how to lay it out, come to me for writing coaching. I can literally take you from the concept to the completion. Everything in between, we're good.
Everything in between. So they can come to you at any level or stage, no matter what, and work with you from there. So where could they go to get information? I do have our Instagram at the bottom scrolling across, but if you want to provide the website, we could do that. Or how should they, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Anyway, I work from home, so I see it if it comes through email. I see it if it comes through the website. I see even special people like me by mail. So the website is divinelegacypublishing.com.
Okay.
As you can see at the bottom, the Instagram is Divine Legacy Publishing. So is the Facebook. Now, because Twitter likes to limit your characters, and me and Twitter, we beefing. But on Twitter, it's Divine Legacy Pub, because I couldn't get the rest of the word in because Twitter twits. So whatever. But that's how you can get me. My email is info@divinelegacypublishing.com, but you can also just send an email through the website if that's easier.
Okay. Info at Divine Legacy Publishing.com.
Mm-hmm.
For the email. Damn. This thing right here. Watch this. Boo, watch this.
Hey, look at technology. So fancy.
So yeah, that's all. That's her contact right there. And let me see if I had one more question before we finish. We're at like a 50-minute mark. That 50 minutes went by really fast.
It really did.
Oh yeah. My last question is, what advice would you give authors in your genre who are afraid to publish an erotic romance novel? What advice would you give them?
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. So how many books have you written?
Well, written or published?
Both. How about that?
Okay, so I have published 5. I have written 8, and I have outlines for over 40, almost 50.
Jeez. Just send me like 2 of them in my mailbox, and let me go ahead and put that out there. So I can,
and so my ones that I have out, 3 of them are erotic romance. One of them is my graduate thesis, so it's nonfiction. And then I have a children's book series that I just started based on my daughter, Brooke. My daughter is homeschooled, which, apparently is a temporal anomaly. Black folks don't homeschool, but we really do. I promise we do.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a book. My daughter is the main character, and it's all about her homeschool adventures. And the first book is Menina, I'm going to run them. I promise. She's telling me to run her the books and give her. I promise I am. But it's called What Jobs Can Girls Do? And it features all the different women that Brooke knows and what jobs they do. She asked me the question one day, and I was like, oh, Auntie Tarika does this. She works for this and this one and this one. So I made a book because if my daughter had questions about what jobs can girls do.
That's pretty awesome. That's awesome.
So I write a lot. I told you, anything. I read and write anything. You give it to me, I'll write it. So I just really don't write horror because I scare myself.
Yeah, I couldn't do it either. I probably have nightmares.
I do. I tried. I tried and I scared myself. I tried to write a paranormal romance. How you gonna write a paranormal romance and scare yourself?
Paranormal.
Ridiculous.
She was in bed. He came up with a chainsaw. What? Ah. I don't know where that came from. Maybe I should write. Comedy erotic novel, romance novel, like a comedy. Comedy erotic horror novel.
You got a lot. Funny. That sounds like a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It does. It sounds very confused, like Scary Movie 3 or Scary Movie 4 Friday or something like that. Okay, so we're wrapping it up. And is there any last minute information you want to give to them? Anything that you're working on now that you want them to know about, projects, dates for different live events or whatnot?
I just relaunched my blog, retromodernmandy.com. It's about me. It's literally me. I was raised by older women, of course, my mother. But I was also raised by my grandmother, who was born in 1936 and lived until I was 30, and my 2 great-grandmothers, who were born in 1915 and 1918. One of them lived until I was 15, and the other one lived until I was 21. And so heavily influenced by these older women that were born at the beginning of the century, of last century. And so my husband's always called me grandma. That's his little nickname for me.
Granny.
Yeah, grandma. Whatever. And but I just relaunched it because a lot of people were asking me in, the face of the coronavirus, they're being forced to homeschool. And so I've had a lot of people hit me up because they know I'm very vocal about homeschooling. Not that I force it on people, but that I just want to normalize it. Homeschooling should be just as normal as children who go to public school.
Yeah.
So I've been very vocal about it so that I give a face to it. I'm not I definitely love my Jesus, but I'm not some fanatic which has been tied to homeschooling. I'm not, obviously my arms are showing. I don't wear my clothes down to my ankles and stuff. And so I try to normalize it by, I'm just a homeschooler. It's just what we do, regular people. And so a lot of people have hit me up. So I relaunched it so that I could give tips on homeschooling to help folks during this time, because I've been homeschooling her since she was born. Okay. So that's almost 7 years now. That's quite a time. So, there's some tried and true things that I do. And then I also talk on the blog about other things. I just relaunched that. And then I'm writing. My next book should be out in August if all things go well. It's actually Retro Modern Mandy.
Oh, see, it got me messed up.
I had to give it a twist because, when you're named Amanda and your nickname is Mandy, it's like, really? Thanks, Mom.
Right, so Retro Modern
MANDEE.com. Yep. And, different things are up there. I have a blog that I'm about to post called Adventures with Grown-Up Knives. Ooh. And how we got a new knife set and didn't realize you're not supposed to put those in the dishwasher.
You got them all rusted up.
Yep. Found out the hard way. That was a bad idea. So, and, just different things, different tips. My daughter has food allergies and wants nuts. And so she can't have shea, almond oil, coconut oil. So we spent some really ashy days trying to figure out what we were going to do.
Yeah.
So we didn't set her allergies off. And so there's a blog up there. Was 6 anti-ashy tips for nut allergy sufferers and stuff like that. I
need to look at that.
I'm also a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And we do all organic food and stuff like that. And so people are like, oh, you eat twigs?
Yeah.
I don't eat no twigs. Who eats twigs?
I eat leaves.
Right.
I'm just fine.
All you eat is tofu. I've never heard tofu a day in my life.
Tofu chicken. Tofu chicken?
So, normalizing that and explaining exactly what organic food is. People are like, oh, you eat all that fake stuff. No, actually, the organic stuff is not
so fake stuff.
That's not fake stuff.
Right. You got to switch it around.
Yeah.
So they can find all of that at retromodernmandy.com. Okay. Cool beans. Awesome. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for being on the Purpose Pod. I really do appreciate you, and I'm honored to have you on here.
Thank you.
And if you guys want to get in touch with her, please follow the links. Ask me if you can't read, and we will get that to you. If you want to write a book, if you're thinking about writing a book, but you're not sure, hit up Amanda not today, maybe tomorrow. But yeah, and this is the best time to write a book. Now is the best time to start writing a book. Now is the best time to get a coach to help you publish your book. And Amanda Divine Legacy Publishing Company is the company you want to go to. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Amanda. All right. See you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So this is the closing of the Purpose Pod. We had an amazing, amazing show with Miss Amanda Chambers, and it was amazing. So she is a published author, and she is a publishing coach. So if you want to publish a book, if you're thinking about publishing a book, please do it. Don't waste any time on your dreams. Don't waste time on the goals that you have. If you want to write a book, write a book. If you're thinking about writing a book, write a book. if you're dreaming about writing a book, write a book. Everyone has a story to tell, and you can tell your story through someone else's life. Like you can create a character and just tell a story about them in your book. But please do not hold your gift inside. Let it out. Let the world see it. Be great. This is the Purpose Pod where you can get motivated and inspired. I'm your host, Alan Simmons. Peace.